All right, here we are, folks. Game number 70, the big 7-0. Can't believe we got to it, but here we are. Third match game, 1859, between Paul Morphy and James Thompson. Okay, well, Morphy's down 0-2. Lost the first two games. He launches the E-pawn, and as you can see, folks, Morphy given knight odds. He doesn't have a queen knight. All right, so let's see if he could do something. Whip something up, have some a little better luck this game. Now, Thompson in the first two played the Sicilian Defense. He did well, up 2-0. But here he plays E5. King pawn, Morphy, standard procedure, knight F3, attacking the pawn. Black, knight C6, defending the pawn. The bishop comes out, aiming at the king side. Here comes Thompson with the same move, right? But here you go. B4 by Morphy, one of his favorites, the Evans Gambit. Given that pawn on move 4, Thompson grabs the pawn, and now Morphy follows it up, standard procedure, with C3. Okay, hitting that bishop. C3 is to support the D4 pawn push. For instance, if the bishop goes back, boom, you hit him with the pawn. And now, I mean, if he pulls back, you just win a pawn, right? Maybe you want to take with the knight, threaten the black F7 pawn along with your bishop. All right, but he'll trade anyway, and then you take back, and, you know, white wins a pawn. He gambited a pawn, so now he just gets it back, basically, right? And, you know, with the game with the knight odds, he's already down. Now, I'm just showing you what could happen. This isn't what happened in the Morphy game, right? And it's still, you know, black's still up, -3, right? So, just one way it could go. But the point is, in the regular Evans Gambit, you know, not when you're given knight odds, but, you know, at this point, you're hitting that bishop, and if you pull it back, you don't want to just give back the pawn, right? So, it's when the bishop comes to C5, that's what you're pretty much forcing black now with D4 to take, and you take back. And, okay, he could get the check here. And after this, well, you know, black, of course, he's going to trade because he's up a piece already from the get-go, right? But what this enables, the idea of the Evans, you get this nice pawn duo, you know, controlling all these key squares in the center, you know, F5, E5, D5. The D pawn controls C5 and E5, right? So there you go. I mean, you're controlling the center. You're down a pawn, and you know, you got some lead in development. You got whose move is it anyway? It's actually white's move. And here you got a knight and bishop out with the queen, all developed. You're about to castle. Okay, so you got a little lead in development, and sometimes you get much more with the Evans. It all depends on how black plays. Now, we're down a knight right from the start, so this didn't occur. This is just one way it could go. Okay? So, Thompson plays the other line, which is to pull the bishop to A5. Okay, now on something like this, well, look, I mean, right off the bat, you just hung the C3 pawn and you get forked, right? And after bishop develops, he's not going to take here and trade bishops. He wins the exchange in the corner, right? And there you go. And really, all that white gets is a little lead in development, but it's you know, it's not enough. Here you give it knight odds. Once again, got to mention it. So if you look at the evaluation, after winning the exchange and being up that night, you're up better than 6. You know, so very tough to overcome. And now if you do this, I mean, heck, you could just trade, I guess. Trade a pair of knights. Maybe not. You got to get some development going. Because if you do trade, look at this. If you trade, you bring the queen. Mouse slip, folks. You bring the queen right to the center, aiming at this, you know, threatening to win that rook. So you can't give too much. You can't give too much. Matter of fact, what if you bring the queen up? No good, right? I mean, black would love to trade queens. You slow the whole game down, and you're up, right? The exchange and a piece. But then, look, you hit him with the pawn. Moves over. He's going after your G2. So you develop. You protect G2. Knight comes out, and black's ready to castle. All right, you go after the queen. You can't have the time to consolidate, folks, or it's easy win for black. All right, he moves here. All right, bishop goes back. Maybe it's one of those type of perpetuals. All right, no, he goes for your queen. Wants the queen trade. All right, he castles. Can't do one of these cheapos. The knight can just block. See that? You're going for H2 mate. Queen takes H2, just blocks, right? Maybe you launch the H pawn up and try to attack him then. Put pressure on him, but... Alright, who knows, right? It's tough. You got this pawn that could be a bomb. You launch it in when the time is right, but I don't think you got enough. You just... I think black's going to get out of it. He's going to unwind, and, you know, I don't see much happening here. Shredder likes this move. I don't know why. Okay, avoid the queen trade. Here comes the knight to a good square. And there you go. I don't know, protect E5. There he goes, look. The knight fork. How about that? Is that right? That can't be good. All right, but anyway, it looks like it's a slow strangulation. You know, like a python, black's going to slowly squeeze white and get the win. All right, so just one little line that we're looking. Oh yeah, from the knight. I mean, come on, you lose the exchange like this. This is no good. So you can't play D4, right? Now, get a load of this. In this game, right here at this point, you see Shredder, after the evaluation, it's saying queen to B3. And guess what, folks? That's what Morphy plays. You know, now that the knight can't leap and harass the queen and bishop, you know, forking them, as opposed to in this line, you know, for instance, you play something like this, maybe it's not the best move yet. I mean, Shredder likes this to defend F7, right? But the point being, your bishop's not over here, and you could harass the queen and the light square bishop. And even now, like, he gets the check, king goes over to protect the knight, because, I mean, what are you going to do, go up? I mean, forget it. That's no good, right? I mean, what if you did go up? You see E5's hanging. He goes after the knight, he'll just defend it, no? Maybe you take the... I mean, if he does... The queen and the rook defend right now. You can always watch that knight. If the king moves away, sometimes you could grab that knight, because only the rook would be defending, the rook on H8. But we'll see that later. That's what I was thinking of here. But even now, all right, the king goes over, right? All right, white attacks the knight. Pawn comes up to protect. The bishop is hanging here. All right, so he wants to take. King takes. All right. Now you push here. Because even if he trades and you take back, there's no check here anymore. The queen, right? Defends B4. Okay, so does black want to take there? All right, he's aiming to take. He pulls the bishop all the way back to F8. Maybe that's why he likes moving the queen. We're going to take out the knight and play queen B3 mate. Let's see if we could do it. Well, here he goes. He defends this diagonal, because once we take here, and if he takes back, you see this, folks? You got this diagonal, B3, C4. You're checking that king. Well, now the black queen defends. So anyway, brings the queen up. We castle. He's threatening the E pawn too, folks, with that move, I guess. Yeah, he takes it. Is that a good move? Well, he's got E6. He could play queen to E6. So after this, we bust up the pawns at least. Isolated 8 pawns. Here comes the check. Well, the only move. He blocks. All right, we win a pawn over here. I shouldn't say another. So we got 5-2-5, right? And we're down a bishop. We're down a minor piece. So here, okay. Here comes the rook on the open file, folks. We got to get to the enemy queen. Here you go, tempo. But he's going to harass our queen, and now we move here. Double them up, folks. What do you think? Double up them rooks. And his queen rook's covering the back rank now, though. So it's tough. Going to want to swing this rook here, maybe. Is that the idea? He moves this. All right. Well, you're down a piece, so it's very hard, yeah. All right. I guess it's a slow grind, folks. You know, slow grind. It looks like black's going to win this one, too. Almost up 3. So, all right. Just touching on some of these sidelines, some of these ideas. So, just this one stemming from the knight. Leaping here, right? Now, maybe he'll do like Shredder. You do this first, protect this. Why not? You develop your queen, right? He castles, and now, all right, he wants to go after this. There's no queen knight to come defend, right? To develop and defend e4. See that? So that's a good move, I guess. And now black's ready to castle next. You defend your e-pawn, and there he goes. He castles. And he's good. He's good to go. He's up the piece, right? Okay, so anyway, let's go into the game. Thompson, not bishop c5. Bishop to a5. And now, like I said, queen to b3. Queen to b3. And it says a very rare continuation which Byrd revived against Trigorin at Hastings 1895 with ill success. So Trigorin won that. And, you know, it was 1895, folks. What's that, like 36 years later, right? 36 years later. So, I mean, think of how ahead of his time Morphy was. Now, Thompson brings the queen to f6 to defend the f7 pawn. And that's another little point I want to mention. I don't know if I did earlier. The c3 pawn opens this diagonal also for the queen, see? So it has like dual roles, right? A dual function, or whatever you want to put it. Multi-purpose move, right? Queen could develop. You got the light square battery, and that c-pawn, that c3 pawn, supports what Morphy does next. d4! Now, can you believe this? Now, there's no bishop forks, because the queen, right, on b3. There you go. But look at this. The old masters just say knight takes. Black got an excellent game. To avoid such a reply, Byrd played 7 castles. So Byrd played this against Trigorin in the game mentioned. He played castles first. So now, you could play. I mean, just do anything here. You develop a piece, right? You do this. If he takes, you take back. There's no pin, right? There's no pin on the c-pawn. All right. So anyway, the only thing is, now it gives black another move to prepare for what's coming, So anyway, crazy is after d4, and here the old masters recommend knight takes. Well, you can even take with the pawn, according to Shredder. And if you push this up, do something crazy, right? He takes with check. No, wait, he's saying to go this way, but what if you go this way in order to... Oh, I see, the bishop's going to take on c3. I was going to say, you go here, and then on your next move, you bring the rook, pinning that queen, right? That's the threat. The king defends the rook, right? And he'd have to give up the queen. Look at this, though. Look at this. He follows through and wins the rook in the corner. Holy smokes. Is it enough with these 2 bishops, folks? Matter of fact, my dinky h6 pawn actually prevents the mate. Oh, wait, actually, he's got a knight to block. He can block. Okay. But where was that guy? He was on D2. All right. All right, so anyway, all right, it doesn't work. Now, even on this, they're saying to take with check. He goes over, which then we could win the knight. Now, if he goes this way to help protect the knight, this doesn't really do much because he could block with the D6 pawn. Always look at that move. And what it is, I think, just to point out, when the bishop develops in the Evans, it likes to develop on this diagonal, usually from the starting position to A3, and it can be very strong, usually keeping the king from castling when the king's still on E8. But what happens is the D6 pawn would block, right? It would block, but then usually white has a pawn on that pawn duo in the center, the D4 pawn, and the E4 pawn, and he can push this up and then really break up, really put a lot of pressure on black. So anyway, we'll see many games where Morphy destroys lower rated players, okay? But all right, anyway, let's go back. Where are we? Thompson's no slouch. Now this is just the idea, but it doesn't work. He takes, and even on this, we threw in H6. He could just take and stop that immediately. The rook can't even come here. We would get this check, and he would move. All right, now he moves towards the knight. We would take. He can't take with the king because the queen on B3 still protects it. So he has to take with the rook, and it's very ugly. I mean, this is what are we doing? He's down 8, folks. All right, let's go into the game now. Let's get back to the game. So, queen B3, queen F6, bird castled first. But, as I said, Morphy plays D4. Could take this way. Old masters say take that way, right? This away, that away. But what does Thompson do here? Bishop to B6, question mark. Note say by knight takes, black got an excellent game. To avoid such a reply, bird played castles first. Okay, bird played castles first. That's the notes. All right, so anyway, now I got to do it. Okay, do it over here. Comes bishop. Bishop goes back to B6, right? It's almost like he played it to C5. Now he moves, it's almost like the bishop's over here. And you're forcing either a trade or, he moves the bishop back. But remember, folks, he's on A5. He just volunteers this. So now Morphy takes. Morphy takes. Knight takes. Well, now Morphy takes the knight. Queen recaptures, and now she's diverted from defending the F pawn. And Morphy sweeps in and wins the pawn, right? Here we go. Bishop takes check. Now you got to defend that knight. If you go here, well, he takes, he has this and the king over, right? Because similar to what we were kind of looking at before, king over this way, and you're threatening bishop to G5, folks. Look, let's throw this in. Silly move. No, just falling asleep, totally daydreaming. You just push. Maybe it was a touch move, folks, in the tournament. The guy accidentally touched it. So now he's got to move it, right? A6. And there you go. Look at this, folks. Here comes the dark square bishop with check. All right, he'd have to give us his queen, right? Goodbye. Goodbye. Matter of fact, what if you come in with the queen? What happens on this? Look. We're gonna play, folks. We're gonna play. Let's say he takes this guy, right? We go down here with mate. Did you see that one? Did you see that, folks? All right. Anyway, we got to slip them in when we can. A few laughs. All right. So anyway, okay. So he's making an escape square so he could come out the back door right here to C7. But now he's really in trouble. Look, you hit the diagonal. Now he can't block because your bishop, you just go right in with mate. right? So he's got to move only one square right there. We already got the bishop. Looks to me like you play. Oh, he's gonna. If I play this to prepare the bishop, right? To prepare the bishop, he could take it, right? Oh, we going. Oh, we go. We got him in a different square. Look at that. C4 is a good move. Look at that. You're threatening mate on 2 squares. Always a strong move if you can do it, right? Whatever your move is to set up 2 mate threats. Deadly stuff. All right. I mean, you got this. We got we got either the bishop coming in with mate, or we're threatening the queen down, right? Those are the 2. Unbelievable, right? So, I mean, he tries this. There you go. We push him over. What's he going to do? Goes in the corner. He loses the bishop, right? He couldn't hold on to that. And here we go. It's going to be mate. All right. And where did this stem from? Well, this is all when he takes, right? When he takes here with check, we move over, threatening. We're threatening. We threw in the A6 move just to show the threat. It's all over at this point, right? He comes down what he likes. Look at that. See, he originally, I think he wanted to take, if I'm not mistaken. He likes my move, see? And he makes the escape square. All right. Well, anyway, that's all throwing in this silly move. What would black do? And it's already, look, he takes away that square, right? Makes sense. And now it looks like black wants to trade queens out of all things. Really? Pretty tough. He can't develop this guy here, 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 because he just would trade, right? Oh, he goes this way. Now he takes, and he can take with check, right? He can even take with check. Oh, he's threatening the bishop on A6. The light square bishop coming down. Let's see. We go here and there. He forces the C pawn to block. Look at that. Now, black was threatening, if you haven't noticed. He's threatening, let's see. Oh, no, he's not. The queen comes back and blocks. All right, all right. Got a little excited there. Thought that might be mate, but the queen blocks. He brings that. He brings the queen back, and after trading, so you go after the rook, tempo on the bishop, he wins this guy. And I mean, you know, you got close, you won a piece back, but now you're down 3 pawns, which is equivalent to the knight to begin with. 3 pawns equals a knight. So you're back at square one. And now you only have, you know, very little of the game to go. Much of the power has been, with the queens off, it's looking pretty dreadful. All right. Black wins that one. But anyway, where were we, right? Where were we? Oh, with this, he takes, I guess he's still better. Black's still better. All right, of course, black would trade, right? Because he's up the piece. Why not? All right, bishop back. He plays this. He takes the center with d5. Bishop develops over here. Bishop develops over there. Doesn't really do much. You go there, you go here. And let's see, we got 5 pawns to 6. Maybe, folks, maybe this is doable. You know, even though you're down a pawn, right? Am I counting that right? 6 pawns to 5. You know, so who knows? Who knows where this goes? Here, trade the rooks off. He's going to win that A pawn, I guess, if we trade those pawns. We trade those rooks, right? How the heck do we do this? Look, he brings this here. He could trade. Can he win this one? Oh, then we win all right, we win that one. All right, so it's back and forth. Although now black has a passed A pawn and he wants to launch it, see? So I don't know. Although, look at the evaluation, less than 1. The evaluation is less than 1. Light square bishop taking over the A4 square, so the pawn can't advance. And I don't know, this is a game, maybe white could hang on. Maybe he can hang on. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm just looking now, and white has a passed F pawn here, and maybe more if he could, you know, he can maybe even trade them off. Look, he trades these off. He's going after him, doubling up on that guy. Now, if you take, I don't know, you take, let's see, here comes the check. It goes here. So, I mean, it's past king pawns against past queen pawns. I don't know. Very interesting game, though, isn't it? Here they come. Here they come. It looks to me like black's going to win this. Rook back to control this with the light square bishop so he can't advance. And now he's going to go after this guy with the rook. F5, your bishop on C1 protects the H pawn. See, white's pawns are busted, folks. They can't march together and protect one another, yet black's can. That could be all the difference. And he comes back. All right, now he's seen, this is a perfect example. He's got C4, and now he's going to push B3. White's going for the tactics. He's going after the bishop. Here comes the check. Very interesting. All right, so he comes up. Now, yeah, there could be better moves, and there probably are. But we're just getting a feel, you know? Here we go. We go after the bishop. He takes here. Wow, look at this. He sacks the exchange. Oh, he doesn't sack the exchange. He's got that. All right. Pawn up. Look at this, folks. I don't know. Mouse slip. Where's he going? Here? Here come those pawns. King over. We have the light square bishop controlling this at least. So the king could get to B1, I guess. Right, here we go. We give a check. If he goes up this way, he blocks his A pawn. I don't know. See, what the thing is, white can never push this up because the dark square bishop takes it out. If he had this pawn over here, I mean, you know, one could protect the other. For instance, the light square, this one would walk up, and it's the, you know, it's this pawn would protect this one. The bishop would have to give itself up and so on. But I mean, the way they are, the way those pawns are isolated, they can't protect one another. So blacks can. This is what looks like it's going to give black the win. Look, you go over, see, the B pawn protects this one. It can move forward. All right, we sack it. Very good. We sack it. Who cares, right? Black can't checkmate with he wins this one now. He can't checkmate with a lone bishop and king. So if we trade the dark square bishops and win the A pawn, I don't know if it can be done though. He's got both bishops. Look, he could protect that one. Yeah, if he takes here, right, now he goes to the dark square and we gobble him up, right? Because you know what's coming, folks. What's coming is we push this guy, right? The black king's too far away. We got 2 moves and we're in. All right, he's going to try to stop it down there, right? All right, fine. All right, he blockades it. All right, so either way, he blockades it or he takes it out. Either way, right? King tries to move, and then you queen it, right? He takes. You win this guy. Black can't win. Draw, because you can't mate with a king and a lone bishop. Okay, just like with the knight, king and knight can't mate, and a bishop and king can't mate. But anyway, he would want to block it. He would want to block it. Sure, this is the block. But look, you leave this unguarded. So either way, right? Now, there's my idea. I pull him back. Well, now he gives the check. I go up to the light square bishop. He moves back here so the pawn can't come up. Right? My pawn can't advance. All right, I go here. He marches it forward another step. All right. Obviously, he's gonna check me here. Look at this. Go here. Can he check me like that? Is he going for stalemate? Doesn't really matter, right? Let's say he marches ahead, right? We got to stop him from queening. And he goes after this one. Now black's going to do what we did to him. Look, something similar. Look, he wants to divert our bishop so then he could queen the pawn, right? But okay, he wins that pawn by taking there. He wins that. If we take, he queens. So we have to stay on this diagonal and try to kill that pawn, but it's never going to happen. We just got to win that diagonal, I think, right? Look, I mean, basically, how can we do this? Wait. What is that? Oh, look, wait. What's he doing? We take here. Okay. We take here, but by him winning now he doesn't have a lone bishop, folks. He's got a bishop pair. And guess what? You can't checkmate a king with two knights. Okay? Like in this scenario, black can't checkmate the king with two knights, but you can do it with two bishops. And at this point, it's quite easy. Look. Let's see how he does this. Look, Shredder's not that quick with the best moves in the end games. Let's see if we go here, right? When he comes up, matter of fact, let's see something. If I cut him off, like if I just cut him, let's see. If I go here, he steps this way. Now we try to lock him in. He goes up. We check him back. Right, he goes here. Can't we do a tempo move like this? Or, okay, he wants to do the tempo move with this guy. So he goes there. Now we squeeze him to the other side. Here he goes. King over this way. He comes up. We give him the check. He can only go here. We give him the check. He can only go there. And there it is. Checkmate. There's a pretty one, the way it turned out. There's different ways, but there you go, right? All forced. Showing the power of the two bishops. There's another reason why the two bishops are better than two knights. Because when it comes down to the end, you know, you can mate with two bishops. You can't do it with two knights, folks. All right, so anyway, whoa, where did we come from? I don't even remember. We played this one out. Forgive me, folks. It was too interesting. All right, but what White tried, White tries. Who knows? There might be better ways. At this point, it's probably one of the better lines we've seen for White. At least he made a game of it, I mean, at this point here with the queens off, where did they trade queens? Right here, When you traded queens, you're down one pawn, okay, 6-5. So considering you started down a knight, right? You're doing pretty good. You're bringing it back. Now there's a lot of game here, and it could have went a lot of different ways, thousands of ways, right? So maybe White can hang in there on that. But the point is, we're showing if the king goes this way, and then you win the knight, that's where you won the piece back, right? And then Black gets this check, and all right, if he goes over. Now, you don't want to do this. I don't know if I even touched on it, because then he could take here with check, and he moves, and then, you go back to defend. And the dark square bishops, you check, right? He goes over there. At this point, Black, this is a better line for Black. He's up. Rook F1 may be coming. I don't know. That was actually the queen coming here. He checks again. He wins this one. All right. So, I mean, White's not doing too good. Black's just got to get his men out at this point. Okay? I mean, what does White have here? He has that. Matter of fact, it's -3 still. It's just like when he started without the knight. He goes here, he comes back, forces the queen trade. Oh, forget it now. Forget it now. He's got to pull the bishop back. Now he's down, let's see, 6-3. Come on, no good. Pass pawns all over the place for Black, right? So, this is what makes you laugh. I'm showing you if the king went this way. The king goes this way, protecting that knight, so White never wins the piece back. All right, so now, here you go. You got Morphy. Move 11. Castling. Seems like the right move. Get your king to safety, right? But here it says, bishop takes knight, followed by castles and bishop to e3. For instance, he takes here, I guess, or what? He wants to check now. And now Shred is saying to play this. Well, he takes here, you castle. It actually, here you go, look, this is actually a transposition of moves. They say bishop takes knight, but this is the old masters, followed by castles, followed by castles. Let's just throw this in. That's mate. Oh, what am I talking about? So he takes with check. You block. He takes there and you castle. Okay, now it's actually, excuse me, I don't know why my throat's going all of a sudden, but it's actually by Maroxy. This was his notes. He's saying that Morphy has to take here, followed by castles and bishop e3. It was the only chance. Now, even if he goes, let's say he goes back, right, to protect from the mate, and he castles, and then he says, I don't know, he takes over here, right, takes back. I mean, how stupid would you could have pulled your bishop out if you play it that way, right? You just saved the piece first. Well, what am I doing, castle? I don't know how he could even, Morphy castles first. After king over, look at this, wait. After king over, Morphy castles first. And it just says, Black's knight comes into the game strongly. Well, sure enough, that's what Thompson does, right? So I'm still trying to get this now. He's saying he had to take first. Maybe he figured, all right, he takes here. And then castles. And then, okay, Shredder says to do this. And then, all right, Shredder says to do that, following the advice of Morphy, all right? So I guess he figured the rook would take after bishop takes knight. Rook takes back, and he just gives castles, and then followed by bishop e3. Now, if he takes it, if he figures, oh, I'm up a piece, and he trades, well, now you got the open file for the rook, hitting the enemy king, right? And this is Shredder's best idea, to block with your queen? Really? I mean, if he moves, okay. I guess what he's going to lose the rook over there for nothing, right? What could he do? If he shoots like this, boom, you hit it with check. If he comes up here, you just win it straight out without check. So already he's blocking. He doesn't take right away, huh? He goes here first. And this you can't block because luckily the e-pawn protects your rook. So you can still, let's see, what does he do? He protects the c-pawn. See, white's trying to penetrate. For instance, he takes here, and then he takes the c-pawn, and he's got the black king. He can't come up, you know? And that's always dangerous. Look, he develops this. Well, now he can win this with check. He goes back, and you pretty much gobble him up, right? Now white's winning. Okay, basically at this point, it's like white has the queen for 2 rooks, and he's up the exchange, a rook against the bishop, right? So he's clearly winning that. But all right, black wouldn't trade at that point. I mean, that puts white up. That puts white up at this point. All right, maybe rook here. Finally takes this one with check. Takes, rook takes. We got the check so that the rook isn't pinned. And then we look at this, we win this. We're going after the a-pawn. Doubling on the 7th. Is that what's happening? Oh, I don't know. King back. All right, so and at this point, white's up. White turned the tables in this one. So taking the bishop is not good on e3. This is Morphy's line, right? This was his recommendation. Once again, he had to take the knight. Rook takes back castles. d6 by Shredder. And then you say bishop to e3 like Morphy suggests. No way does he want to take. There you go. Shredder's saying to do this, and black's still up. 4.5, folks. He goes back here, I guess, to defend his e-pawn, and I mean, black's looking pretty good. The only awkward thing is his rook over here, but he's going to move the king and slide it out, right? All right, so anyway, matter of fact, wait a minute, one thing. He says he goes there, right? Okay, we can't push this and harass the queen yet because this drops with check. So maybe the king over first. Look at this move. He's just going to trade. He would trade. Yeah. And he'd win the pawn. Alright, so anyway, it's tough for white. It's tough. Tough being down a piece from the get-go, right? Okay, so king over. So he should have taken, but Morphy castles. Now the knight comes into the game, like we said, very strongly. And now you got bishop to a3 check, a common move in the Evans, but you got the d-pawn. Now, what I was mentioning before, white would love to push the f-pawn, harass the queen, get it to move, and then push your e-pawn up. And you know, you're trying to rip open that diagonal. But the problem is your king's on g1 and the dark square bishop is opposing it. This f-pawn is pinned, folks. It cannot move. So, here comes Morphy with the rook to e1, defending his pawn, okay? Matter of fact, if you push, even that's another thing, you push F4, can he just take the E pawn? I don't know. Maybe tactically he can't. But look at this. Now the knight comes up to G4. Now you're coming down, you're threatening mate with the queen. So Morphy blocks it. See this? Let's say you fall asleep, right? You push this pawn or something. Look. Checkmate. Okay? That's one of those cheapos. So you got to block with the G pawn. All right. Now, like Shredder says, queen back. You're threatening to capture that bishop. Okay? Threatening, and you're putting more pressure on F2. You're piling up on F2. Bishop comes back to C4. Now, Shredder, just saw it for a second. He said to take there, and I think you can. But you know what's funny is here you go. You got Shredder playing the move that Thompson plays. I mean, he's beefed up on F2, so I think he can take. Now, if you take here, you're in trouble because then it's mate in 2, right? So you can't take the bishop. So the king's got to move. All right, if he takes this guy, right, even by losing the queen like this, right, you're still up. Look at the evaluation, almost 4. You got 2 rooks, 2 bishops. You got 2 rooks for the queen. You both got a pair of bishops. And black still has a knight. That damn knight that started the game off, giving odds, right? I mean, you're up, and it's 5 pawns to 6. So black still makes the game. As a matter of fact, he's winning. He's still winning. But now, that's if you come down on F2. Now, look at this. Here's a strong move for you. Shredder finds it. Thompson found it back in 1859. Knight to E5. Harassing this guy for one. He'd love to chop him off. I mean, this is all that white really possesses this game, right? This nice diagonal, the battery. But he's also threatening with the knight move. The knight move swings. He's threatening to come here and win the exchange. Check on F3 and then picking up the rook. Right? Winning the exchange. Not only that, okay, he's threatening. Let me just make a silly move. He's threatening to win the exchange. Look, Shredder likes this one. He's coming to win the exchange by winning this rook, right? So many threats here with this knight move. Well, Morphy moves his bishop back to stop the knight, right? At least stop the knight. Shredder says go in with this. We'll get a load of it. I mean, I think he could still win. He's winning with this one. Okay. But, interesting enough, Thompson goes in with the knight, all the same. Now, if Morphy took the knight, okay, he doesn't take it, but let's look at it with Shredder, what happens, okay? He takes back. All right, we got the rook lift. Now, if you take it, folks, if you take it with the bishop, which looks like the obvious move, right? You take back with the f-pawn, and now the queen's pinned to the king, right? Well, all right, he takes with check. And now, you know, you're thinking, well, you know, when I first saw that, I said, oh, now white's winning. No, look, folks, it's 2 rooks against the queen, right? 2 rooks for the queen. And they have bishops of opposite color. And I mean, it's a fight now, but the other aspect is look at white's pawn structure. I mean, it's very weak. You got these isolated E pawns, an isolated C pawn, an A pawn that's isolated. I mean, it's very ugly pawn structure, but I don't know. I mean, the queen, you know, she's got a lot of mobility. Could she attack on the dark squares, you know, with her bishop? Because the black doesn't have a dark square bishop. It could feel like an attack with an extra piece in a way, because the light square bishop's no help on the dark squares. So, I mean, it's very interesting either way, however you slice it, right? But the other aspect is black's king is stuck in the center, and the 2 rooks, you know, they're not linked up. Black doesn't have any development. Now, let's just see what's the idea here. You're cracking it open, right? There you go, E5 to crack it open. Get that dark square bishop open in this diagonal would be beautiful, right? Okay, so why would h6, Shredder want to play h6 before? Alright, he throws a check in. Maybe now he'll castle? No, he doesn't castle. If he was to castle... Oh, wait, he moved. My fault. You know, I forgot. He moved. Okay. Once you move your king, you can't castle anymore. All the new beginners here, once you move that king, you give up your right to castle. So, alright, so black plays the king to d7, link up those rooks. Here comes the e-pawn to crack it open, but here we go. What's going to happen here? Let's go a little further with Shredder. Alright, so at least you keep the king on the back rank, right? No sense of blocking that check, because then he comes in like this, and then you win the rook, right? Oh, look at that. You threaten mate first. Actually, what could he do? What could he do? Queen to e7 is going to be no way to save this rook and defend it, right? You can't do it. You can't move like that. So, all right, now you take and you win both rooks. Look at that, right? Okay, so there's traps. Even late in the game, there's these traps. All right, he'll decide instead of going here, if he goes to the back rank, those rooks aren't linked up. So he stays over here. And he actually, let's see, if he goes this way, all right, if he goes this way, at least he keeps the pawn. I guess material matters, right? If he goes this way, he gives up the pawn, but the rooks are linked up. And he moves this one to defend his c-pawn. If he moves this one, you take here, and you can lose the a-pawn. The c-pawn's going to fall, I guess. It's pinned right now. What could he do? Right? Now you got a pawn on the 7th. Okay, so white slowly winning the game, right? So if you go here, you got to protect. You got to protect the b-pawn. Here you go. You crack it open. Now this would be dangerous, because once the bishop supporting the c7 square, queen check, you're going to come down for mate. Here you go on the dark squares. All right, he blocks on the light. He blocks the check there. Now we're going to go in on the dark squares. The light square bishop can't defend against this one. All right, the pawn. He goes after the rook in the corner. No more bishop c6. Once that b-pawn moves, no support, right? He's got to move this guy. All right, so we lose. He not only loses the exchange, he loses the bishop. And in essence, white wins a full rook out of that, right? And now it's just queen against rook. Forget about it. Come on. Look at this. Queen here threatening a fork. See that, folks? All right, he moves the rook. He wins this. See? He picks that up. There we go. I mean, heck, we could even trade. Look at this, folks. We could even make it easy, right? We could trade. Why not? Here we go. Kings to the center. Already goes there. We move the pawn that's unopposed, folks. See, we have two against one, right? 2 against 1 on the king side. You move the one that doesn't have a pawn first. That's Capablanca's rule. You'll see what I'm saying in a second. Here we go. Watch what happens. We bring up the other one, right? Okay. All right. Here he goes for him. We move him up. If he goes for that one, no way. The e-pawn, this guy, if he goes for him, the e-pawn runs in, right? No way. Matter of fact, when he does that, he'll have to go back, and now he can defend, and he'll have to blockade that pawn again. For instance, like this, Shredder says, the only move. Here come our pawns. You're going to see why. We put them. We lead with the G pawn, and then we have the H pawn come up to meet him, side by side, right? For instance, when he goes here, we push, right? If he doesn't take, we take him, or if he passes, we just keep going, right? So he's got to take, but then we take back with him, and there we go. We got the passed G pawn finally, right? He tries it over here, but There's no pass pawn on that side. All right, he goes after him. There he goes. He gave up. That's it. There we go. King up to support the pawn. He tries this. No big deal. No dice. And then we go in, right? Boom. All right, folks. There it is, right? We win nice. We win nice. Here we go. Watch this. Cut the king off. Here we go. Cut the king off. Just buy some time. There we go. Now we make the board smaller and smaller for him. See? Look. Mouse slip. We're cutting the board off. He's got only this square or that square, right? He goes there. King over. If he goes this way, checkmate on the back rank, right? If he goes this way, one move, H7. Make sure you don't put him in stalemate now. There you go. And it's mate, right? Okay. Little technique. Yeah, you don't have to give up your queen for the rook, but you figure if you can, look, if you see it, folks, if you know you can win the pawn endgame, why take any chances? Right? You say to yourself, you got 2 against 1, so you could make that. There's 2 here, right? Against this 1. All right. Not that you're gonna play this. I'm just doing it. I can't point out the black pawn over there unless I move this. Make a move for white. Right here. Here we go. Right. 2 against this 1. I can't even do it now. All right. Anyway, I'm really beating it to death, but you get what I'm saying, right? You got 2 against 1 on the king side. You got black does not have a pass pawn on the queen side. Okay, these 2 take care of black's 2 pawns on the queen side. And there we go. We got this guy, right, to march in, to go right in. So, no problem. Take the rook. Who cares? We got the winning game right here. +4. See? Shredder agrees. Very hard to lose a game like this unless you totally blunder, right? So, you take away any chances your opponent has. But anyway, okay, so there you go. You see how the attack came in on the dark squares also, folks? And the rooks weren't in any position yet to help out defensively. When with the king on the back rank, it's really, the material's pretty even. It's the position that white has already with his bishop aiming right at d6. We're ready to rip it open with e5. And the rooks are no use, no help. Right? So, but what if he tries to get this one into the game? Matter of fact, let's do it this way. Well, if we go here, he develops with a check. All right, fine. But we go here. What's he do? Let's see. Wait, on this check. We go here, and then Shredder was saying to come on down to attack that pawn. He does this instead. We're going to crack it open. That's the idea for white. I know what this is about. What if he develops the rook to protect along the rank? That we take anyway. Doesn't really do much. We come up this way to attack him. He could slide right in. You see? Get his rooks in the game. Whoop! Get his rooks in the game. Now, again, we did make the moves quickly, folks. I'm sure. Guaranteed, if you let the engine run, you get stronger moves for both sides, right? So we're just getting an idea, you know. This game is so much to it, right? It could go many different ways. But you see, even the evaluation here puts white up, +4. He's slowly, with that queen, he's slowly picking off some of these pawns. You got to attack on the dark squares. Look at this. He picks up this one. Now, what if he was to save the pawn? Interesting, right? He can't. He can't. What if he, like, he goes here, you get the check coming in, and he picks up a rook. Look at that. You're forking. What if he goes up? You know what happens here, folks, if he tries to defend the rook? Dark squares, folks. Dark squares. You think I'm making these rules up? I mean, come on. This is how it works. Back in the day, I read all these books, and they talked about this stuff, so I'm just sharing it with you now. You could pick it up quickly with this whole course. I'm trying to give everything I know about this game to you. All right? So anyway, let's go all the way back. There's the whole thought, right? It's all stemming from this. If he takes, you take with the pawn. All right, he trades. The queen is pinned. He trades it for the rook at least. And there you go. We go from there, right? This is what we were looking at. And what starts off as 0.73 advantage for white, less than a pawn, he's able to build it up. Look, crack it open right from the get-go. Don't even move the queen yet. It's pinned, right? It's pinned. Here we go. Rook over here. Queen, if the light square bishop thinks it's getting out, we're going to take over here, I guess. All right? Oh, look. He's going to... Oh, very sneaky, folks. Tactics, right? Tactics. You do this, you grab that rook, and look at what he does to you. He discovered check. Your king's on the light squares. And then he grabs your queen. See? So there's traps. There's traps waiting, folks. You got to always be aware. That's why tactics matter so much. And he decides this is a better move anyway. So, all right, let's see. Does he really think that? I don't know. You got to let the engine go a while for it to figure things out. But, all right, we were getting a feel, right? You guys might like what this one's shaping up. Let's see what happens, right? We'll follow it a little further. Here we go. We got the check. The key component in all these lines is to attack D6, right? And go in on the dark squares. Look at this. We got the other e-pawn coming up now. Similar to before. He doesn't take down here. Let's see what happens. He takes down there. We take over here. Threatening maybe a discovered check, pushing that pawn up. He gets out of the firing line of the bishop. Gets off the light squares. He takes on A2. All right, the king's gonna try to help out. Here he goes. He protects C3. He's getting over there maybe because that A pawn. There's a black past A pawn now. Wait, let's see. He wants to go here. Looks like one of these type of positions. Either side wants to give ground. Goes after the queen. Goes here. All right. So what do we got? Check. Perpetual check thing, or what's it called? The three repetitions, folks. 3 repetitions. If you have the same position 3 times in a game, it's considered a draw also. But as long as you don't, repeat the position 3 times, then you're good to go. All right, this is the key right here. So he's threatening to take the rook on F8. So he gets a chance to push that pawn up to the light square, which black controls, but he gets a check. He doesn't want to stay on this. He doesn't want to stay on this because you want to promote on D8, right? He's gonna, let's see. Let me give him that. I don't know. He takes. Gets to take that guy, huh? No check for the white queen, notice. No check here. No check here. He's going to lose that pawn. Alright. Crack open that king side. See, this would lose a pawn, but now you got isolated H pawns and the black king is wide open. Matter of fact, you would take back with the queen, right? So he actually wants to take it. Thinks that's good. Alright, let's see where it goes. I know we got really... He's blocking with that rook move, the rook lift. He's blocking this. Okay, we're going to try to block him out with the pawn, I guess, right? Here we go. The rook comes to this side now. Queen here. Going after the bishop. Pin that guy. Right, he unpins. Alright. Gets the check. This is some fight, huh, folks? It's pretty even. Look at the evaluation. So, it looks like it's going to be a draw. He wins this one. He's got this. It's tough because white controls the dark squares, but black controls those light squares. Yeah, it looks like, let's just say this is going to be a draw the way it's shaping up. It's, look, 0.07, right? If he goes, look, he moves this, attacks this rook. If he takes, then look at this one, right? You check, and you get that guy. Now notice with the pair of, look at this, folks. He just won the exchange, right? So just look at the difference. We would consider the other, with the two rooks, bishops of opposite color, that's a draw, right? But now look at this. Now white grabs that, wins that exchange, and look how the evaluation changes. They both have a 1 pawn each. But I think, here we go. Look at this. Look at this. I don't know, folks. Can black hang in here? I don't know. He's pushing that pawn up. Look at that. Huh? He wins this guy. He can't promote. Is this a draw, folks? That's the question. I gotta find out. We're making the moves quick again. It might be better. But, white's got to bring that king up to make threats against the, you know, who else will support the queen, right? Here we go. Mate threat on d4, right? Mate threat. Queen to d4. He moves this. Something interesting to note. On this, he's got only one move, but when he moves, it's check. See that? The rook checks, the black rook checks the white king. So, he moves over. Oh, he's coming up for our pawn, folks. He's coming up for our pawn. I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, here we go. Look at this. If he takes the pawn, look at the attack. You got to admit, here's an example to drill it into your brain, how the king is an attacking piece in the endgame. If he takes here, king up, because the black king, just by capturing that pawn, just put his rook in a pin. So now the king comes up to add an attack, right? And there you go. You end up winning this guy. And then you win this guy. And now that would be a mistake on black's part. So let's see. He doesn't, after king up, king is an attacking piece in the endgame. He moves this guy. He stays here. He still has that king to c5 move if black takes. Alright, now he takes care of it that way. He goes over here to defend the pawn. He moves up. This is crazy. It looks like a draw, folks, according to what it's saying here, right? 0.01. Matter of fact, let's see. If he goes here and he takes, you take here and he takes there, and he can't checkmate you with just one bishop. So there you go, right? If he tries to block, and then you come up with this idea, well, he defends like that, and then you can take him. The rook could take there. Now, wait a minute, just to show, this is this is a win for white. And since we hit upon it, really, this was just a draw at this point. But since we just hit on this, let's see how this works again. I forget. This is tough. I remember it being tough. There's queen forks involved. He's got to go to a light square. He chooses this one. We check here. Now, if he blocks with the rook, same tactic. See that? That's one to remember now, folks. The king is an attacking piece. All right? If your opponent volunteers to put himself in a pin, then you can add the king's pressure to it and win the piece, right? So there you go. So he's got to move, right? So he moves. He moves. Now he's got to stay off the light squares. For instance, if he goes here, you got the queen fork. See, and that's where this win lies for white. He eventually can fork. There you go. He forks him this way, right? Comes up, he gets him there. So really, if he stays, look at this check. If he stays on the back rank, here or here, he loses to this move. And you pick up the rook. If he goes to this square, you lose it this way. And if he goes here, that might be his saving move for now. Give the check here. All right, there you go. He lost. Again, if he steps anywhere on the D file, right? The move's the same. No, not there, dummy. Here. See? Even Shredder didn't see. Look, he's going here. No, you go here. He goes and you pick him up. See that? Even Shredder. I'll tell you, the program is great, but when it comes to end games, it has to still calculate all the possibilities, and it'll take a while. He'll find it. He'll find this move. He would find queen to d3. He's going over 1 million moves a second, you know. I don't know when he'll find it. I don't know, but got to see it sooner or later. All right. Well, anyway, we're not going to wait, right? We're deep in the weeds as it is, right? So if he goes here, you know, you pick him up the same way. And then if he goes to the back rank, we pick him up over there, see? All right, so there you go. It's just an example. You know, it could be really tricky sometimes. You need a lot of endgame technique, queen against a rook. I think it all depends on the position, you know. But in this, just the way it cropped up here, white was able to do it pretty easily, right? Couple of moves and you get that queen fork, which is what that end game is all about. You got to eventually fork king and rook, and the defending side eventually has no way out of it. It may take a while sometimes. It's pretty tricky. You could check out in the books. Sometimes they're pretty long-winded maneuvers by that queen, depending on the position, but it is possible. All right, so it's I believe it's always a win. Queen against a rook in an endgame. It's always a win, but it may take a while. It could be tricky. That example was rather easy. Okay, so here we go. We're going all the way back. My God, I played this one all the way out, right? My mistake. Anyway, this is all stemming from if he takes this rook, okay? Now, this is where the old masters put it. Let's see. Now, they said if bishop takes, right? If bishop takes knight, queen takes, rook to e3 is rather the continuation which one would have expected from Morphy. Black has then no good retreat for his queen. Okay? And they're adding if queen here, right? You know, wanting to trade queens, well, you block it with the pawn, and you're threatening rook to f3, pinning that queen to the enemy king, and you can't even do that because at least your e pawn protects your rook. And look at that, you win the exchange anyway. I mean, you win the queen for rook anyway. But now, interesting, this is what the old masters put, and they just leave it at that. Rook to f3 next. Okay, so they say that's no good for black, but Shredder moves this guy over, and you know, black seems to be all right. I mean, I played this out, and notice the queen moves. You'd love for him to, you know, to rip it open, because the rook would come down supported by the bishop. But I mean, the queen defends, right? What if he takes like that? Well, now, okay, wait, let's see what happens here. Blah 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 blah. Right? He takes this, that. You try to rip it open. It's a discovery. My mistake. It's a discovery. Okay. He blocks that diagonal. Comes the rook. Let's see. What if he moves here? Come down. You win the rook. Okay. So that's the threat. You're going to win a rook with a check on the E file. Okay. So on this, all right, he goes here. He goes here now. We do the same thing. Oh, he could defend from G6. See that? But now he gives up the D pawn, which allows a check. And we win the bishop. I think this is going to lead to mate. Comes up. There you go, look. And it's all over. Funny how quick it could go, right? We had a long-winded example in the last variation, and there you go. This one ends quick. All right, so he gives up the rook. I mean, he gives up the queen for the rook. Now you got this. And now you have something a little different, but a little better than the last end game we were looking at. It was queen and dark square bishop against two rooks and a bishop. Now we have a rook and queen versus two rooks and a bishop. This is definitely better position for white now with the rook opposed to having the bishop. Let's see, what's this about? Attacking B7. He wants to keep that guy. Alright, looks like we're slowly picking him apart. Here we attack the bishop, he defends. Black's pieces are all tied up. Okay, he's all tied up. And notice white doesn't want to trade a pair of rooks, because then it's the queen all by herself, and you need another piece to support it and give mate threats, right? Look at this, we got the passed A pawn. I guess he's going all the way in. Rook behind the pawn, common defensive maneuver. Attacking that pawn. Oh, he's going to defend this one. He's just going to keep pushing that guy. Alright, he's trying to attack. He's trying to attack on the F2. He moves his light square bishop. All right, he moves it here. Now he's coming down. He's putting pressure on f2 with his 2 rooks. All right, look at this. Check. King takes. Queen to c3, forking the rook and king. See how those queen forks work, folks? Open board. You sack your rook on g7. You win a pawn. He takes back, and now you pick up the rook. So, in essence, you win a pawn. See that? You win that g7 pawn for nothing. All right, he pushes this up. We have our A pawn against his D pawn. What do you think? Look at this. Check. Notice my pawns, white pawns, I should say. Notice the white pawns are on dark squares, so the bishop can't. My fault. The black bishop can't do anything. Right? Here we're gonna threaten a fork over here. Queen forks, folks. That's the theme of these end games. Look at this. You're gonna threaten Queen e7 and then pick up this guy, right? So that's what this is about, I think. Yeah, he gets out of it. Now you're supporting that pawn push. Now black has a8 covered with the bishop and his rook. So what does it all mean, folks? I don't know. Let's see. Here we go. Comes check. We come up. He goes up. We go here after the bishop. He defends. Let's see. Do we want to go there? I guess so. If he takes, we take the... Oh, no, we don't. We can't take here because he forks us, folks. Oh, wait. Look. Look, we get that one back. All right. This wins. Now look at this. Just do... Let's see. Is this a winning endgame? I'm not... Yeah, it should be, right? Again, simplify the position if you have the winning endgame, right? He comes up. Look at this. You got... Whoops. You got to make sure we play this right. All right, king up. Makes sense. We go here. Why not go here, right? See, we do this. Goes there. If we play this guy, folks, we have all we have is a pawn on the edge. No good. This is a draw. If his king is in front, if he can get in front and stay, he'll just stay here in the corner, and it's a stalemate eventually. There's nothing white can do to get him out of the corner. So you don't want to do that. So you're going to play for king position, I guess. He goes here, and he's boxed out. What else can he do? Look, you're going to win. You're going to win his H pawn, no matter what, right? No matter what, you're going to get to F. You're going to get to this square next. There's nothing he can do. Look, if he backs off or he goes here, no different, right? So now you're coming to G5 next. So he tries to defend that, so you can't get here to eat his pawn next. But you could go here. He has to back off. Now you get to G5. That's the whole goal. Come up to G5 and now gobble his pawn up. Now you got 2 pawns. Easy win. Easy win. There's nothing he can do. All right, for you beginners, look, you just march him down, right? You're going to support him. If he goes there, you just, right here, now the pawn marches in, right? So king support, the pawn goes straight in 3 moves. So if he goes there, well, okay, you push the pawn, and you have a tempo here. You have a tempo here. Let's say if that H pawn isn't there, you want to go here. He goes there. You go to the side, and now the pawn can march in, right? He goes there. 1, 2, 3. It's a big deal. He takes that one. All right, let him come up the board. Let him come up the board. Look at this, folks. Look. See that? How you corral the king up? You know, it's like you're a cowboy, right? Get that pony going. Look, you cut the squares off. He only has one move. Boom! All right, there you go, right? We're picking them up. We're picking up all the patterns and theories and stuff, right? Combinations, all from Morphy's games. Unbelievable. All right. So, all right, that was a long one, but you see how you bring it to the conclusion. Rook and queen versus the two rooks and bishop. Much stronger than bishop and queen versus two rooks and a bishop. Big difference. All right, so let's get back. Let's get back to it here. What are we doing? This was okay. That was king. That was queen here. Okay, so it takes a while. The old masters just left it at this because you got the threat. Rook F3, right? Rook F3. I mean, if he takes it now, you still got the same situation. Rook still pins the queen, right? And then we go into what we looked at before. Queen and bishop versus two rooks and bishop. All right, white wins that one. Or actually, black can hang in there. So really, it's could go any way, really. But white had a lot of play, had a lot of the initiative there. But black can hold if he plays it better. We looked at it the second time. Well, anyway, here we go. So the point is, bishop to e2. Thompson drops the knight in. Oh, and the other line the old masters give after rook to e3 is they say queen to h5 is no good. Queen to h5. Let me see. So we got queen to h5. After this, the old masters say, let me make sure I read this right, folks. It says simply, and if queen to h5, then pawn to e5. All right. So he would take here. We would take back with check. Right. The king would move up. Take with check. He takes back. And you'd love to swing the rook down, but you can see why the queen went to h5. See that? But okay, what do you pass? You push this one up. He goes after your e pawn. All right, queen here, attacking d6, folks. That's basically all white's got to play for. He's trying to disrupt that black king in the center. Don't let him get settled. Don't let those pieces come out. All right, look, we take here, forking king and queen. He takes. Now we give the check to the king. He takes here. There we go. We win the queen, but it's a little much, folks. We give a bishop and a rook for that queen, and we're already down. So now we got the queen for the two rooks, and he's got an extra bishop there, right? And I mean, here we are with an extra pawn for it. But really, the only thing white may have is the fact that black hasn't unwound yet, right? He hasn't really developed. Here he comes, right? Let's see what happens. He's got this passed e pawn. Can he make anything of it? Look at this. Trading pawns here. They're trading pawns. All right, this is under attack. He's protected. I mean, that's the best you can do at this point. I don't know. It doesn't look good for white, folks. It doesn't look good for white. I don't know. Really, is that the best? Let's see. For now. Yeah, the white's down. He's down over 3.5 at this point. Oh, he takes here. He takes there. We give the check. King in the corner. Go after the rook. All right, protect e4. I don't know. It looks to me like it's going to be black's game to win here. Look, the bishop supports rook to f1. All right, he wants to go here. We attack this guy. Right there. He can't take this because then the queen comes down. If he takes here, if we go, push this, the queen takes there, we come down with mate, right? So we can't take our pawn, but he takes this one, huh? Alright, we're pushing that A pawn. We're pushing the E pawn. What could he do, folks? What could he do? The two rooks are zeroing in on that E pawn. That one's dead, right? We go after this one. He protects. All we got left is the A pawn, really. Here we go. I don't know. He's not taking here. Does he lose then? Goes after it. We protect. We're threatening queen to B8, right? Let's see what happens here. Still looks like black's got it. Alright, there you go. It's over, right? He's down over 8. I mean, forget it. Alright, so black could hang on here. He's queen to H5. If we go back, the old masters claim it's no good. They claim it's no good just because of this move right here, E5, and that's where they leave it. Well, look, he takes with check. He comes up. You take with check, and I mean, this is what we just looked at. Black takes back. All right, I don't know. Threatening maybe queen down to C7. What about a rook over to go here, maybe some kind of rook lift? There you go, right? Or he could go after D6. He wants to check right now. All right, we win this, huh? We win that. Because if he goes here, folks, we could take with check, right? Or he wants to go here. We take. Oh boy. There we go, folks. It's over. It's all over. Look at that one, right? All right, let's see that. Rook F4 might be a good move here. Let's see where this goes. All right, he brings the queen over now. What did he do last time? He pushed that. Let's see. Queen to E5. All right, let's look. Queen to E5. Protecting D6, I guess. Oh, you come up, you want to pin the queen with rook to E4 next. But he gets the check. We go in the corner. And look, the queen could check here. You can't check here. You can check there. You bring the rook back. Tell you what. Yeah, king up. If he checks you now, you block with the rook. Right? You block with... Oh, no, you can't. Folks, if you block with the rook, he comes in like this. And he wins the exchange. No good. No good. Do you get anything for it? I don't think so, right? Go after the rook in the corner. And then he goes on. And then he's relentless. Let's see. Protecting D6. Alright, we're busted. We're busted at that point. We're down over 8. Almost 9, right? So we come up. He gives the check. Does he get a perpetual out of this or no? He develops the bishop. We come down. Gives the check. We're in the corner. He comes down. We come up. Now the bishop's pinned, folks. Look. Look. The bishop's pinned, right? So we can't do that trick. He wins the exchange. So he goes to protect B2 and actually protect D6. Now if he goes here, he would have to give the queen for the rook. Okay. Because the bishop's pinned, the king moves away, white wins the queen outright. So you at least get the rook for it. See that? So now it's one of these scenarios. 4 pawns are 4 pawns, but the white only has the queen. The 2 rooks is enough to fight against it, but black's got that extra bishop, right? So I mean, he's still kind of down. So let's see if there's anything better. Right after this, goes down, goes here. We could take on D6. He would let us do that. All right, he goes there. We take on D6 with check. And he's only, let's see, he's only moved, well, he could go there too, right? But let's say he goes there. The black queen, this is blocking the rook from coming down. When he plays this, here we go, we protect our C3 pawn at least. He comes back, we can't trade queens, no way. No way. Yeah, all the way back, you attack A7. All right, now he's saying this is better. All right, there you go. You take here. With the check, maybe with the rook. Wait, what are we doing? Rook there. He's going to come right down with the queen. There he goes. We block. We could just wait. He's trying to figure it out. I don't see white winning in any way. Look, you could just trade, right? Look, you could just trade down. Just trade him down. Now you're up a whole rook, right? Why make it hard for yourself there, Shredder? All right, black wins. Black wins that one. All right, so Queen H5. You know, I don't know. They're claiming that it's no good for black. Looks good to me. Looks good to me. Right after this, king up. You take. He takes back. What do you got? Well, anyway, you know, that's just glancing at it. Okay, let's get back. So the knight comes down, and we just looked over if the exchange and then rook up, right? Well, let's get back to the game, folks. The knight comes in with check. Morphy, rook, king to H1, king to H1, and then you got the, what it says here is, by his sacrifice of the exchange on the present move, white gets little. Okay, so here comes the bishop first. Look at that. The bishop comes in first, going after this guy too, right? Now, this rook, Morphy moves. I mean, he's going to try to put pressure on that, right? So here he comes. Well, bishop takes rook. Now the bishop takes back. The bishop takes back. And here the queen moves to H6, threatening mate. So Morphy, you understand why the bishop took back on F1, because now he can support that pawn push to H3, blocking the queen out. Okay, so anyway, the knight comes here, forking queen and bishop, supported by the queen, the black queen, right? For instance, if you take, you just lose the exchange, right? You just lose the exchange. But white doesn't have to take. He actually moves the queen up. Morphy with queen to B5, and then when the bishop falls, he can recapture like this, because if he takes this way, then the queen comes in, right? And look at this, folks. You got the bishop on B6, pinning the F pawn, right? My mistake, mouse slip. The queen could take. The pawn is pinned. See that? So we can even win that guy. Here comes the rook lift, ready to come here and here, right? Actually chase the white queen away, threatening to chase the white queen away, and then move in, and it's all over, right? Trade the queens off. That's what he's trying to do, right? There you go. So you stop the mate, but you're down a whole rook. Forget about it. It's all over, right? So, okay, just to show you what's going on. So after queen to b5, he takes here. You got to recapture with the queen. Now, wait, Shredder's saying to go here. What's this really do? Anything? No, nothing's going on. All right, so anyway, he takes back the piece here. Shredder agrees. Take the piece back with the queen. Protects this pawn. And now you got, let's see, what happens after that? We get the king to e7. All right, got to play it now or never, right? e5, bust it up. All right, king over, and now look at this move, folks. You're going to laugh at this one. Morphy plays, all right, Shredder's saying this, right? But look at Morphy's move. Bishop takes pawn. Now, pawn takes, the rook comes right in, forking king and queen. But like we've seen in the other lines here, right? The other variations. What this leaves is black with a bishop and a rook, right? Two rooks and a bishop for the queen. I can't even get it out. And we've seen, you know, he slowly grinds this down, right? And there's not much. What is why even take like that? Well, anyway, we go back. We don't have to look at this. It's similar to before, right? We go. He takes now. Thompson doesn't recapture the bishop and give his queen for bishop and rook. He doesn't do it. He stays away from that, and he plays the queen rook to e8. Okay, hitting this guy. And now we get the interesting, right? The queen rook says queen rook to e8, which gives black a discovery. But I guess he can't really move anywhere and do damage, you know. If he goes, look, even this, if he goes there, doesn't really do anything, right? He moves there, and he pulls back this way. You know what can you do? Trade bishops? Look, doesn't even double the pawns up. It makes no sense. So he can't really do any damage with a discovery. So after that, Morphy moves the king up. Okay, protecting h3, so he can move his queen into the game, right? All right, here comes the king, moves to c8. Now he's getting in the corner where he belongs to be sheltered. It's going to be hard for Morphy now. He pushes c4, allowing his bishop to be taken. Pawn takes pawn. He's trying to push d7 check, right? For instance, you're going to let him do this, really, win the rook? And he's, you know what's funny? If he does do this and he wins the rook, right, he's still down the bishop, so he's still losing. But anyway, Thompson doesn't even give him the chance. He puts the rook over here. Now they're attacking this, threatening, you know, he's threatening to use his own rook to fork the king and queen, right? So now, okay, you push this guy up. Oh, no, wait, he plays b5. Oh, he blocks the bishop out. He blocks the bishop. The bishop takes the pawn, and then you know, what do? You pin this bishop. Problem is, he just plays the queen over. Let's see, but Thompson plays queen right here to protect it. So after that, it says white resign. Now let's get into this again. Let's just look at these moves. Make sure I got this right. Descriptive notation's got my head spinning. All right, so you got queen rook, right? To f8, putting pressure on this guy. He doesn't push this up. He pushes this guy up. It says pawn to bishop 5, which is c5 here. The bishop takes pawn, and then the queen goes to bishop 4, which is bishop to c4. Okay? And now he plays this, but look at this one. Right? If he goes back, now you get the queen coming right in, right? And its mate. Or its mate here. Shredder likes the dark squares. All right, now, if he goes here, so that if this occurs, then you get this, and then you get that, and then you can take this guy, and now it's a game. Now all of a sudden it's a game, right? Finally. But that would be a huge blunder. So Morphy Shredder suggests king to g1, in case he gets excited and comes in. It's not with check. But I mean, even now, folks, we got craziness like this. For one, you could do this move, right? It's a check from the bishop, and you're attacking with the rook on c2. This is the piece you got to take because that's the one given check. But then you lose you lose that. All right, he hits you with this. Oh, big deal. You move over. You blockade it. What has he got? A rook left. Really? What's he gonna do, right? All right. So anyway. So he takes, and then you could just come down with the rook. You could come down with the rook. He's even saying this is better. All right. What do you do now? All right, similar. He's got a discovery set up. All right, so nothing really works. Now, according to what the book says, queen to g5, protecting the bishop. And look at this. Shredder pulls this one out. He pulls this out. Which way is he going here? He moves over. Now you're forking the thing here. You get a check going. Now, if you go here, he takes, right? He comes in. So let's say you do take. He comes in anyway. Look at this. He comes in. He's gonna take on g3 next. Boy, oh boy. Defend g3. Defends g7. So there's a little play left, but really, folks, it's just agony. It's just agonizing. Morphy's been down the whole game, and he never was in this one. He was never in it. There you go. He's gonna, let's see, attack that rook. He's attacking your pawns over here. Alright, he wins this one. He wins that one. There you go. Double up queen and rook. Alright, there it is. He's giving up. Look, you do this, you got that, right? Well, you're up a whole rook, okay? Good night. So there you have it. After this move by Thompson, Morphy had enough. Where is the move? Here it is. After queen to g5, that's it, folks. Queen to g5, that's it. And Morphy resigned. I'll tell you, hey, folks, our champ is in trouble here. What's going on with Morphy? That's 3 in a row. 3 in a row. 0-3 for Paul Morphy. I don't think he ever lost 3 games in a row. Not yet, anyway, right? 3 in a row. What's he going to do, folks? What's he going to do? His back is definitely against the wall. Now, this, as I read before, how many games did they have to fight? 5 wins to either side were to settle the match. So Thompson only needs to win 2. Can Morphy win 5? right? Can he do it? I don't know, folks. Well, I do know because I read through all these games, but we'll leave it up in the air. The suspense, right? Okay, anyway, it's a nail biter. We'll see what ends up happening, folks. Can Morphy turn it around? Well, you're going to have to stay tuned. We got Game 71 coming up. Don't miss out, folks. When I get this one done, I'm going to post it right away for your enjoyment. All right, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy all that I bring to you. I'm doing the best I can. All right, folks, have a good night. We'll see you next time on Morphy's Games of Chess.